Now, after lots of research, we've chosen our beer style, gone to the brew supply store and purchased our ingredients, and today we're going to start brewing. Hooray! Okay, I've got all my ingredients laid out here as sort of an overview for you, and let me get my sample, my inspiration out of the way. Beer is essentially made from 4 basic ingredients: water, sugar, hops, and yeast. Okay, the first ingredient we're going to talk about today is your dry malt extract. This is the source of fermentable sugar in your beer. When this meets yeast, the byproduct is alcohol and carbonation. Malt also adds important characteristics of body, head retention, and sweetness to the flavor of the beer. Today we're using a dry malt extract. Some recipes also call for malt syrup. Some call for a combination of the two. Our next ingredient is our hops. Hops provide the magic. They are the flowering portion of the vining hop plant. And if I pour some out here for you, you can see what they look like. They're just kind of like little condensed green pellets, kind of looking like, you know, rabbit food or something. But what they are is the ground up whole hop flour and then just condensed down into pellet form. It has a very important job in creating both the bitterness and the aroma in your beer. And the bitterness is measured in some very complicated mathematical ways, which I won't go into right now, but they're called bittering units. And essentially it lets you know how much alpha and beta acid is in the hop plant, thus imparting a bitter flavor to your beer. The final ingredient is our yeast. And yeast is a living organism and classified as a fungus. The yeast has to be kept under refrigeration in order to keep the yeast culture alive, but you do want to bring it up to room temperature on the day of your brewing. And what the yeast will do is consume the sugar content of your beer in the form of barley malt and create the alcohol content of your beer, which can be measured as well in another complicated scientific method. Finally, we're going to talk about specialty grains. We're going to be adding a couple different varieties of specialty grains to our beer today. Specialty grains impart color, body, and head retention qualities to your beer. And essentially they are whole grains that are steeped in your beer, kind of like a tea, and it can change the color of it, make it a little bit sweeter. It just adds all kinds of groovy nuances to your beer. Typically the grain will tell you right on the package what kind of qualities it will add to your beer. This one says sweet pronounced caramel flavor. And over here we have a Brice roasted barley, and that is a coffee color, which adds intense bitterness and dryness. So it pretty much tells you what you need to know right there on the label, which is helpful to the first-time home brewer. The grains do need to be cracked using either a grain mill or a good old-fashioned rolling pin in order to release their enzymes during the beer making process. If you don't have a grain mill and you're afraid of rolling pins, most home brewing stores will provide the service of cracking your grains for you if you ask them nice. I'm the proud owner of a KitchenAid mixer with a grain mill handy-dandy attachment, so I can do my grain cracking at home. I simply pour my specialty grains into the mill, set it on the coarsest setting, and let her rip. Oh, Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. Oh, Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. Water. Your body can't live without it, and neither can your beer. In fact, your beer is 90% water. Water is the most important ingredient in your beer. After all, beer is 90% water, so it better taste good. And just because it tastes okay coming out of the tap doesn't mean it'll taste good in your beer. So I recommend using filtered water from a household filter or reverse osmosis, which removes the majority of the chlorine and heavy metals and other impurities that can make your beer taste just a little. So start by filling your brew pot with some filtered, nice tasting water, about 2.5 gallons, and you're off to the right start.